You know, there aren't many animes that can say for themselves that they have multiple seasons nowadays. Last decade we waited a whole 4 years for Attack on Titan Season 2, and we're still waiting for things like No Game No Life Season 2. Which is why this thing is special, but it's a different context as well. We're going to talk about RWBY in this video. From its humble beginnings as a passion project from Rooster Teeth to a great series that spans 7 whole volumes with an 8th one coming at the end of the year like any year, this is everything you need to know and more about RWBY. Spoilers up ahead for all 7 volumes. As said in the intro, RWBY is a passion project by the animation team over at Rooster Teeth and came out of one man in 2012. That man was Monty Oum. Over the next year, the team would create 4 intros for all 4 different main characters in RWBY, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. In July 2013, the first episode released. Hype was high for it with the 4 intros depicting some great fight choreography with the engine that they had, which was lackluster at best. The other main selling point for the series was the soundtrack. Jeff Williams is pretty good. But I'm gonna say to you to listen to every soundtrack. But if I'm gonna give you some songs, I'm gonna give you 2. This Life Is Mine and Red Like Roses, part 1 and 2. RWBY's episodes nowadays are usually between 15 and 20 minutes, but for the first season it's more 5 to 10 because of the time it takes to produce something like this with a pretty small team. Thankfully, it got bigger, and we got Monty, we'll get to him, to thank for this with his sheer will to continue this project and his power to come up with so many things. Volume 1. Introduction to RWBY. Monty Oum is an animator and a member of Rooster Teeth. He's the one who came up with everything happening in RWBY, and you can still feel his impact to this day. 5 years after his death. We'll get into that later, briefly. But in 2013, RWBY came to fruition with a full show after 4 intros, 1 for each main character. The first episode, you had pieces going into place with everything involving RWBY, the main character, that you can recognize because everyone else has no model except the bad guys. Oh, and Osprey and Goodwitch, but the first protagonist you see with a model is her. Yeah, I'm insisting on the models thing because this is the first thing that shows you the limitations of the show at first. The start is fully narrated by someone. Oh right, I said spoilers at the start. So the start is fully narrated by Salem, and there's a response from Ozma, not Ospin, even if technically they are the same person. So, RWBY gets enrolled into Beacon, the most prestigious academy for producing huntsmen and huntresses that hunt Grims. They're basically wild animals that are born of darkness. Yes, the premise is extremely cheesy and cliché, but the execution makes it work. Especially execution at the beginning that revolved hard on the fights. When episodes 7 and 8 came, we had a lot of exposition done. Volume 1 is that. Exposition. Explaining what Grims are, why they fight it, who are our main characters with Team RWBY and Team Juniper, and the one of Team Cardinal that had only one story with Jean until it faded away into non-existence. Yeah, okay. The naming system for the teams is weird. It basically all names mesh together, which can give confusing things like RWBY with their leader, Ruby, but it didn't have a name like Team Shit. Volume 1 isn't the greatest, with the very average visuals and cliché story. As an example, you have Dust. Dust is just basically a MacGuffin. Its powers aren't clearly defined, unless you watch World of Remnant. You know, that's their spin-off explaining some details in RWBY, like Dust or Grim. What makes the Volume 1 still bearable to watch is the comedy and the fight choreography that are still the main selling points for RWBY for a lot of people 7 years later. If I had to give a 4-letter acronym to the season, it would be START. Easy one, but they'll get more complicated as we move on.
Let it go.
They're supposed to be the defenders of the world.
And they will be, but right now they're still children. So why not let them play the part? After all, it isn't a role they'll have forever.
With Volume 2 coming up in late 2014, the formula stayed the same but with major improvements. The main antagonists were more defined. You had the White Fang with its quote-unquote leader, Adam. You only see him for a few seconds at the end of the volume, but it counts. You also have Mercury and Emerald as sidekicks to Cinder, the main baddie. And let's not forget Torchwick and the best character in all of RWBY, Neopolitan. Yes, in one word. Why the best character? She has the best semblance, the best weapon, the best design looking like an ice cream, and after volume 6 and 7, she has a great story going on as well, and we need a redemption arc for her now, please. So yeah, bad guys are numerous and varied in design as well. Adam looks menacing with the Wolverine mask and everything going on with his design's striking confidence. Cinder looks always in control and proves it multiple times in the volume that she is in control. Mercury and Emerald are calculated and act like great lackeys. Torchwick is a nuisance that always acts like a small-time crook would. Neo follows him around and is way too skilled for someone like him, but she probably owes him a lot. And the White Fang are cannon fodder, no need to dwell on them. Now for the new good guys, you have Neptune and Sun from Vacuo, another kingdom, because you have to understand that there are 4 kingdoms in this show. You have Vacuo, Mistral, Vale, and Atlas, and they all have their specific quirks, with one in the desert, one on the forest basically, another one using the mountains as an advantage, and the last one in an ice wasteland, and I have no idea how they can survive, but I guess that's how things go. Also, if you can listen to this and understand anything I'm saying at this speed, you're a genius and you're too powerful for this world, unless you're slowed down to 25%, in that case, congratulations. With all that said, you have to understand that this season actually accomplishes a lot. It lets us understand motivation for a lot of the characters, especially the 4 main ones after Mountain Glen. Then you also have a new style that works better, even if it's still not perfect. You can see that shading, coloring, lining, and just the animation itself improved greatly. This is thanks to what they've accomplished in Volume 1, that lets them accomplish way more in the second. The foot fight is a great example. You have one of the best fights in the series, the best one at the time for sure, and it wouldn't have been possible to do something this good before probably, so I'm really happy about the change. As I said, it's not perfect. That would come in Volume 3. Before we move on there, I need to give it the 4-letter acronym, and I think this one would be better. And now, moving on to Volume 3.
Do you believe in destiny?
Yes.
There is a reason I'm calling this volume this. This is still the best volume of the series. That's it. Everything was set in place in Volume 2 for an explosive 3rd volume, and Rooster Teeth delivered. We first have to talk about one thing. Monty was the creator of this project, and he helped RWBY to be as good as it is now. He died a month after the end of Volume 2 of complications after an operation, leaving behind a huge hole to fill. But my god, they delivered with this 3rd volume. It should have been no easy feat. You can see that some fights are missing a bit of noomph, but it just doesn't matter because of all the impact this volume had on the story. And while I'm still talking shit about the fights, they're better than in Volume 5 for sure. We'll get there soon, trust me. The death of Penny turning into quarters, Joke stole from Chernomortal, the death of Pyrrha, the loss of Yang's arm, all of these, except the first one now, are major events that have a lingering effect even today. By the way, isn't it weird that Pyrrha wasn't even mentioned in Volume 7? I mean, she did have her goodbye in Volume 6 with the statue, but that felt a bit like just a goodbye, not a goodbye forever. For her not to be even mentioned is weird. But still, Yang's arm also is kind of lost to the shuffle of other major events happening in the series because of the last major event, Ozpin and Salem. Seriously, I missed the bits with Salem the 4 last time I watched Volume 3, except the last time, because I completely forgot she was even in Volume 3. This volume is packed with everything the series has to offer. You have all the events I just mentioned, Crow and Winter's fight, Yang breaking the leg, the fall of Beacon, the Silver Eyes, everything, and this volume is just amazing. Everyone has a role to play. We also have the start of the kebab with both Blake and Pyrrha on it. I wonder who'll join. Volume 3 doesn't need an introduction. It's the volume everyone remembers from the series, and probably still has the most drama in it too. But the show is far from over, and we're not even halfway done with the series. If I had to give it the 4-letter acronym, I guess Deadly. Seriously, you have so many combinations, it's great. Try it at home and give me your best ones in the comments. With Monty dead, the show had to move on to something else. The last image of Volume 3 was Crow looking over Team Ranger as they go to Mistral because they just have nothing better to do than just to move on. Jean's face and voice always makes me have a tear because he's so broken it hurts. That leads us to...
I know this can be frustrating. And it can feel like so much effort to progress such a small amount. But I want you to know that I'm proud of you. I've never met someone so determined to better themselves. You've grown so much since we started training. And I know this is just the beginning.
As the volume drew near, we had a trailer for Volume 4. I started watching RWBY as Volume 4 started and was pretty hyped. My hype quadrupled when I watched this, because fight choreography stayed decent and we had a new engine. This is still the engine they use today, by the way, and let's be all honest, it looks infinitely better. This isn't better than this. Models clip less, they have defined textures, models are so good. RWBY looks amazing, Weiss looks as sassy as ever, Blake looks comfy, and Yang... well, Yang still has only one arm. And Jean is getting us to ball because of the video of Pyrrha. Speaking of those characters, they are all separate right now except Jean. Their stories are also different, and to me, I find this season extremely enjoyable. I know people aren't happy with the whole Kurayuri thing, and I'm the same. It could have been better. The payoff of the giant Grim Reaper Grim was unsatisfying, but at least they gave the killing blow to the right person. The best part of the volume, though, has to be Crow against Tyrion. As Crow says in Volume 7,
"Me and you have a score to settle." Oh, I agree.
Because that's one of those battles you don't really forget because of the choreography. There are a few fights like this for me. You have the foot fight in Volume 2, Yang vs Mercury in Volume 3, Pyrrha against Cinder in 3-2, Crow against Tyrion in 4, weirdly the Belladonna Mansion fight in 5, the Maiden's Brawl in 5, the little fight between Neo and Cinder in 6, Adam against Blake and Yang in 6, and also both Tyrion fights in 7. Unfortunately, only one of them is lengthy, the foot fight. I don't count Blake and Yang against Adam as long because I count only the part with Yang where the fight is even. Anyway, I'll focus back on Volume 4, but I don't have much to say as it's a solid volume. Exposition can feel a bit bloated and you can feel overwhelmed, especially after everything already learned in 3. I still think that some add-ons are clever and some are unexpected. Ozpin for me wasn't, even before, because he had to not die for the story to make sense.
I've made more mistakes than any man, woman, and child on this planet.
And he's right. So that non-lie had to go somewhere and it led us here. It was either that or invincibility, but we'll get there soon enough. So, for Volume 4, I'll say... travel. Because at heart, it's 4 traveling girls trying their best to find themselves back at the same place, that being Haven Academy. This leads us nicely into... Volume 5. The Rushed One. Yes, this was supposed to be actually, with something in the background, but copyrights. I will not say that Volume 5 is bad, because calling Volume 5 bad is just a bit false. If you base your enjoyment of RWBY only on fights, then yes, Volume 5 is pretty bad, as is Volume 4, but you still had some great ones in there. Same for Volume 5. Even if I find the Belladonna Mansion fight pretty good, especially everything with Ilsa, it doesn't look great all the time. The main thing about Volume 5 is that you don't want to look at it as a fight-driven show. It's a plot-driven show now. It has been ever since the end of Volume 3 and the death of Pyrrha and everything with the Silver Eyes. I'm calling the volume rushed because of one reason though. In Volume 4, it hasn't been established that everything wasn't happening at the same time. So when that came to be a thing in Volume 5, it felt weird. You have to read in between lines to even think that some stories are happening at different times. The main culprit is Blake's story. It's at least 2 weeks behind until the attack of Avon, where it ties up with the rest of the story because of the White Fang. So, the Faunus were able to create a militia, get trained, hop on a boat to Mistral, arrive at Haven, all that without being seen by Adam or the rest of Salem spawns, in 2 weeks. Give it a month, come on, at least. But that's in-story pacing. The episode pacing was wrong too. All the exposition should have been maximum 5 episodes. It was 8. The Fall of Beacon took 4 episodes alone. The final fight also took 4, but it felt different because everyone was at the same place. In the Fall of Beacon, we have some people on land. Some in Amity Coliseum. A cluster leaves to fight the robots takeover. Some find Adam and lose an arm and get impaled. Some try to get a Maiden's power and fail to do so, dying in the process. RWBY is doing her thing, Weiss is doing her thing, Blake and Yang doing their thing. It felt organic and a great way to have some story development. Here, the point was to get the relic. And the way it happened was just, a story gets there, another one gets to the same place, another one joins in. Oh, look at that, Ozpin has baggage with Hazel. Oh, look, Lionheart is a dick and a coward. Oh, look, Yang goes down to join Mommy like she didn't want to. My point doesn't come across very well, but as you can see, everything feels bloated. Everything is happening at the same time, and there are so many plot points that it doesn't feel very organic. But I'll still get you to keep in mind two things. Number one, Leo is the reason they have trust issues. And number two, my favorite scene.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Me too.
Oh, and we also have 3 more victims to the kebab. So the volume gets the acronym of Raven. Because we don't... Volume 6. Ozpin's Secret. Same thing with the 5. I had something planned. And copyrights. This is the main thing happening in this volume, but it's far from the only one. Episode 2 and 3. Those 2 episodes strike as the single most heavy episodes in terms of story. They're so heavy, in fact, that the first time I watched those last November, I thought to myself, wow, the story is all making sense then? That's new to this show. And I was right. So right, in fact, they had to create World of Remnant. But yeah, the Guild of Ozpin in the 4th episode is striking. I always wondered why he made a big deal of everything. He has no trust. He can't trust anyone.
Do you really think Leo was the first? That he didn't say those exact same words to me?
This world is there to do one thing, cause chaos, not letting him fulfill his task. He's not the right man for the job anyway. He just wanted to save a girl from a life of torment. He ended up dying, and the girl was selfish in the words of the gods, and she was punished because of it. The gods aren't the greatest in this show too, because if they were, they would have just tried and helped the girl instead of giving her a task to learn from her previous actions. Because she learns one thing.
That the hearts of men are easily swayed.
Gods being pricks is normal anyway in anime culture, right? I mean movies too anyway. So, we have Salem's motivation. Ozpin's lack of motivation being the new force of this volume, and guilt coming on everyone over in the crew. What can be worse? What about apathy? This episode is great too. Episode 6, everyone giving up with the task of the lamp, but RWBY. But why? Apathy. They all show signs of being tired and wanting to give up, but why? Apathy. A lack of emotion shown when someone gives a different opinion than yours and you just stick to your guns, but why? Apathy. Yeah, I love this episode because of this moral dilemma. Is it right to continue with this task now that all hope is lost? Hope is never lost. You always have a spark that can give way to a huge fire. And that light, of course, is RWBY herself, because she never gives up this hope she has. Always seeing the good. No joke, she was one of the reasons I got out of my depression 3 years ago. I went to a psychiatrist and all before, but seeing her with her joy and seeing the good always when there is something bad, she gave me hope. I gave up with those bad thoughts I had, and for this, RWBY will stay in my heart as best girl of the show. Just over Neo and Weiss. Neo, by the way, with a great fight against Cinder. Just a shame it only lasts for a minute and a half, because it was the best fight in the volume by far. After all this already, you have a great mecha fight with good strategizing, Crow finally seeing some good even with everything he has in his life going on, and trust me, it's not over for you, dude, I'm sorry to say that. Also, you have the surprise attack of Adam on Blake, which leads to a great fight between him and Bumblebee as a fully realized ship. Congratulations, fandom. You got what you wanted, even after the build-up of Black Sun. This should have been the ship, and my positions won't move, not like Yang and Blake's one on top of one another.
Gotcha.
So for this volume, Ozpin. He is the main thing people remember about the volume anyway. That in the new kebab victim. And now, finally and lastly, we move on to the newest volume that started in late 2019 and finished this February. Volume 7. Atlas remains strong. The new character designs are great, but this is what's happening right now. This is the story of the Kingdom of Atlas. Ironwood, the Aesops, Winter, Penny, those are the things at stake in this volume. I mean, you have all of that, and you also have Mental, with Robin. The new character designs, it's flurry for, a new adventure, but it's not the main thing. You have the reapparition of Ironwood, looking like he just got finished with a whole month of heavy drinking. Even Crow would say you did too much there, James. We also have everything going on with Mental, Atlas, the Amity Project. God, this volume is also big with Expedition. But to be honest, the season's pretty good. Ironwood is the best character of the volume. He has no idea what to do, tries, comes with the wrong conclusion, declares martial law, and just everything goes to shit. I really like 3 things in the last 2 episodes. The swerve with Winter not being the Winter Maiden because it's her name, lol. We can't have a maiden have a name that is the same as the maidens she's associated to. That's ridiculous. We also have Clover's death. Sorry for the spoiler, but it's been out for over a month now. And the speech from Ospin at the end, realizing why he left Oscar in Volume 6, and actually also why he helped him back at the end of Volume 6. Oscar unlocking his semblance also at the same time. That was a good moment. This season is good. There are a lot of great ideas in it. Father finally had his comeuppance. Fucking mother finally showed herself and drunk from the bottle in front of her child. Like, what? But hey, at least the family is broken into a million pieces. Winter's down. Weiss leaves. Whitley is sulking. The mother is drinking and the father is arrested. Great family, that. So I guess for this season I would say Clover, because his death still hurts. Also, he's the last member of the Kebab, so here we go, that's something. I said it would be spoilers, there are spoilers. After everything is said and done, I think RWBY is a great show. I don't really get why people are leaving it right now, actually. Like, what's the new problem that hasn't been there already before? We have nothing new that is bad to report here. Volume 7 is solid. I tried to think of words to describe it, and that was the first one I had, because it's true. I have my issues with the series, and everyone has some different ones. I found hard about what I dislike, and I guess the feeling that the story is overwhelming isn't one of them for me. When you give people too many informations, they won't always take the time to really think about those informations. If you're dedicated, you will, but only if you're dedicated. Menagerie, Alice, Salem, Crow and Raven, Ospin, Ozma, Summer, all those stories are part of the same universe and the story stays coherent. Jello Apocalypse makes it clear that it isn't. But it's not the case for me. I find the story sensical enough that you're not lost. Also, the only one that thinks that the Crow thing is a curse is Raven herself, not Ospin or Crow. Overall, I would just say to you all to watch RWBY. The first 3 volumes are a good introduction to this world, and if you're hooked, you'll enjoy the rest too. Be sure to have some preparations ready for episode 12 of Volume 3 the first time you watch it, because I think you do believe in destiny, don't you? Hey, thank you for reaching the end of the video. This was a bitch to make, but it was incredibly fun at the same time. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and to subscribe, and also hit the bell, You never know when another one like this can come, so down there. Anyway, I am mainly a gaming channel, but an experiment like this does really make me learn a lot of things in terms of editing, and it did. Anyway, with all that said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again for the next one.